I'm blessed. We're blessed, man, that we had those issues in life to make us, to help us, to catapult us, and make us further our career over time, man. Because that energy is who we are today, man.
Yeah. And we had less distraction back then. You got more distraction now with the social media and stuff like that. Everybody can place their platform, so everybody feel like they gotta maintain a certain lifestyle and level, and they're focusing on the next man's post.
First, man, before we get started, I wanted to talk about your best impersonation of, we like to watch movies and stuff. So like, give me your best impersonation of one of your favorite movies or characters or actors that you like.
Oh man, well, Harlem Nights, one of my favorite movies, but
boy, I don't know nothing about no damn Harlem.
Oh, I know a lot about that. Nah, I think when dude got the gun. And he stick him up, or right before that rather, and Red Fox was in the background. And he was just like sitting there like, that's right, I'm gonna shoot these motherfuckers. I'm gonna shoot them. And I'm gonna send all be home, bro. And then like Red in the back like, shoot the goddamn dice, man. And then he was just like, all right, so what you gonna do is you gonna give me everything that I lost, and I want to take in everything that you win. Now you tell that frog face, gravel voice dude to take his slow walking ass down there and bring me back my cash, or otherwise I'm gonna stick you, and I'm gonna definitely stick this bad luck janky mother second here.
Mama needs some new clothes. Baby needs some new shoes.
You need some tea.
You need some tea.
That was the part when they was shooting pool, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what would you say?
When Buddy, when he told Ref, he was mad that he had to put his glasses back on. Right?
Oh yeah. He was just like, I had some mind. Well, get the fuck out y'all.
I feel like we ain't gonna never have good actors like that, and it'll never be another movie like that, man.
Nah.
The whole comedian comic world has definitely shifted.
Yes.
Yeah.
From the Richard Pryors, to the what is it, Paul Mooney's, to the freaking Bernie Mac,
all of
them. It's just a whole different game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, just even, what was that? The Def Comedy Jam 25, and that was introduced. You got the Martins, man. Martin hosting the show and things like that. Oh yeah, the original host. You know what I'm saying? Like, just killing it. Those dudes like that. That's a whole different game. And the comic game is still strong. It's just it's a different transition. It's a transition. It's kind of like hip hop, music industry. It just it shifted. We got these social media platforms and everything, and it definitely brings a whole different dynamic to comic, just even marketing yourself, period,
Right.
And that's, I don't know. That's
I also feel that a lot of the world's changed. Like we say in sports change. Football players have changed. They softer. I think that the world is a lot more. I think that the world is a little more,
capital T,
a little more delicate.
Triple.
So comedians can't be more like outspoken like they were back in the day. We watched Richard Pryor episodes on YouTube last couple weeks, and it's like you couldn't say the things that he said back then in the '80s or in the '70s that they say now.
The whole demographic of life has definitely changed when you come to the whole harassment and discrimination.
Absolutely.
There's certain things you cannot say that we was once able to say before.
True.
You know what I'm saying? Now you literally getting blackballed, and people lost their jobs over saying the F word.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Sometimes it's warranted.
Huh?
Sometimes it's warranted.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole purpose of cuss words is you, in the moment, that it's the only way you can convey how you're feeling
I'm
at
talking
that
about
moment.
the other F word. Yeah, that you can't say that.
Oh
You can't do that now.
You can't say that. That's like
That'll
calling
sabotage
us
you.
the N-word.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
You just can't say that.
Nah.
You know, you can't do it. You know what I'm saying? So it's in jokes, you know, they always say it's a little bit of truth in every joke.
True.
And you just can't tell your truth. You can't do it.
Right.
You can, but you can't. You gotta modify it.
Absolutely.
Do so at your own risk.
So I need to hear your best impersonation of a character or of an actor or a show we watched or growing up. You got a few. T. Brack, you got a few, man.
Yeah, you do Bob from accounting, great.
Oh man.
But see, a lot of people ain't gonna know who Bob from accounting is.
Man, you watch
don't know
Martin,
who
you know who Bob is.
Who Bob is,
Right.
man.
Yeah, you got that. Hey Gina. Introduce me to your friend over there. It's just like, I can't do it. Y'all put me on the spot with this, bro. That shit. Boy. He said, right now your career's here. Oh man, nah, y'all put me on the spot with that. I ain't got one right now, man. I wasn't ready for that.
I would say my
Yeah.
best impersonation is E40.
Yes, I love you, E40. We be on
Yeah,
that.
your E40 on point. I can't do it like you.
So here it is.
E20.
So Brack and I, we used to play around. I ain't nowhere close to the size of E40, so I used to call myself E20. And so one of his 16 bars that he spit in one of his songs goes like this: "I'll be more hipper than the hippopotamus.
Ooh.
Get off your head, knocking the neurologist."
Oh,
I don't even remember the rest of the song. I don't even remember the rest.
yeah.
Oh man. I think it go get off your head, knock a neurologist. Got a brother by the name of Tupacalypse. Anyway, we've been put on the spot. Cameras is on us, man. It is what it is.
He said, I kick with the 100-round drums. Me and my Usalams.
Oh. It got better, man. But to get down to the nitty gritty of what tonight's show is about, it's about mental health, man. We felt that this was a major part of our careers, and it's there. A lot of people don't like to talk about what goes on, how you feel inside, and I think that this platform with this podcast, Beyond the Breaks, is a way for us to express what is really going on inside of each and every one of us. So I'm gonna start with you, Brack. Was there a time in your life to where you felt like you didn't really want to be here no more? You were at your lowest of low, and everything was weighing on you. Kind of got into it in the first episode where you kept pushing through stuff, and it's like a ceiling caving in on you. But was there ever a point in your career to where you were like, man, like I just don't want to be here no more, man?
Like as far as just like in life or
in life, in your career, playing,
like, man, honestly, I never felt like I can just shut down.
Good.
There's some things that I felt like it will be no longer, like being experiencing different things in my career, or just like as far as football, like I remember when I didn't get drafted, I felt like it was over for me. I felt like when I talk about one of the biggest transitions, one of the biggest things I experienced in my life to really just kind of help me keep going, I think what helped me persevere was when at Washington State, man. Remember when I was calling you, I'm like, I'm out of here, man. I can't do this. I don't want to do this, bro. Like I was like mentally broke down, bro, because I felt like that I should have been playing a lot more than what I did when I first transferred to Washington State. I felt like I competed enough to, if I didn't start, I should have been a heavy rotation. And my mindset literally wore on me. I literally like just was there to be there.
Right.
I checked out. Right. I didn't give up, but I checked out. And if that could kind of make sense. But Like I really didn't go to class. My everything, my whole attitude just kind of shifted. It went from the field to the classroom, and really wasn't showing up. Just being at practice. Wouldn't go to school. Just barely just floating through. And the crazy thing, bro. After all that pouting and growing up, my dream was literally to just play Division I football. I grew up watching UCLA. I wanted to play just games in the Rose Bowl. I didn't have to play in the Rose Bowl game, the bowl game, the granddaddy of them all. I just wanted to play in the stadium.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's all I wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was my dream. I didn't have dreams playing in the NFL. And I remember at Washington State, I had the opportunity when we was going down to play UCLA. I was all that little pity party that I had because I felt like I wasn't playing as much as I have. The week of the UCLA game comes up. One of our DBs, I think it was Alex Team, he got hurt. Or he got a concussion, something, and he ended up sitting out that game. And that was my opportunity to start. They named me the starter. Day one of practice, and I blew it. I wasn't mentally ready. I wasn't physically ready. You know what I'm saying? To take on that role because of how I handled the situation prior. You know what I'm saying? And so that fucked me big time. Like, it really messed me up. And I ended up playing that game, but I didn't start. Pasadena, my hometown, the whole fam was there. I played, but I didn't start. And that was my opportunity to start. That was my opportunity to, what I be telling these youngsters nowadays is like, dude, do not put yourself in this position because when that time comes, you better be ready. You better be ready when that time comes to take on that role. I remember when even in high school, my junior year, I didn't start the first game of the season on varsity. I was on the sideline. But them boys wasn't cutting it that first game. I got the opportunity to start that next game. I was ready.
Never look back.
Never look back. Never look back. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't carry that same mindset at Washington State. And so that messed me up. The next, I was academically ineligible. I was thinking about transferring. I'm calling Rob. Man, I'm about to come out there, holler at your coaches. I'm trying to come. And then something just hit me, bro. Like, I called my Uncle John. I called my pops. Calling everybody. And I was just like, you know what? I'm not leaving. I'm in a blessed situation. I got a full ride scholarship. Worst case scenario, I'm just going to leave with my degree. Worst case scenario. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to let everything take care of itself. It was just a shift in the mindset. And I literally had to, when I had to redshirt because I was academically ineligible. So that first semester of schooling was trash. I had to reinstate going into that next semester, right? But my grades were night and day. Again, it was just a simple transition in my mindset. I used to literally cry every weekend, literally in tears every weekend. I remember the first game of the season, that year I redshirted, and they were all on the field, whatever. They was getting it in. I was on the sideline, and then I left. I was like, there's no way I could be out here. There's no way I could be out here. Every time our team traveled, every Saturday they left to go to the hotel or Friday night or whatever. I literally had workouts set up for me in the weight room every Friday. Getting it in, plyo workouts, agility workouts. I was putting in that work because I knew what I wanted to do. It was just a simple mindset shift. You know what I'm saying? And people always say it's so cliche, what you put your mind to, you can do it, but it's truth.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Everything has to align.
It's so true, you know what I mean? And that was a big turning point for me. So all that to say, when we talk about, when you're at your lowest point, there's times where I've been at my lowest point and I just feel like it wasn't more so that I wanted to give up. It was more so that I didn't have that support. And then it just came to the point of a mindset shift. Then I had to get uncomfortable. I had to put myself in uncomfortable situations to bring myself back out of that. Because doing things out of the norm, because I felt like I was probably too embarrassed to do. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, you gotta get out of that comfort zone and set your mind and just realize, you know what, just what you're going through right now is only temporary. Right. You know? And once you realize that and you continue to fight through that, like everything is groundbreaking.
Well, I can tell you, me being on the other end of that phone, you know, you venting to me, I felt like at times I was like, when they ruled you academic and eligible, I said, nah, Brack, like, what's going on? We not going through this again, you know what I mean? Because I felt that Brack was one of the top athletes to come out of this area. And, you know, due to grades, that's why you didn't get offered out of high school. You had to take the JC route. And
what was SAT score?
SAT, I mean, okay, you right, my bad.
Grades good. I just didn't prep for
the test. Yeah, because mama didn't play, man. Mama didn't play, right. But my bad. I thought it was grades, but okay, SAT. But, you know, to be on the other side of that phone call in college during that time, it was just like to hear your stress, man. You know, I was in a different, you know, era at that time. But I felt you because we've been tight for so long and known each other for so long, man, that I knew you would wake up out of it. And when you did, man, I was so proud of you, man. You know what I mean? I remember the year you actually did play, and you really only played 5 games, my guy. 5 games, balled the hell out and got out. It was amazing to watch. But at that time, I was on my butt watching the TV. I should have been playing, but I'll get into that in a second. I wanted to...
When you talking about my senior 5 games? No,
your senior?
I played just that full.
You played all 10?
Year. All 10.
I thought it was like,
I came out in spring ball, bro. Like, this is all me.
Well, no.
Like, I'm running the table here. Look, it's him. Number 12.
Okay, so correct me.
He's going here and there.
Correct
then we
me if I'm
figured out
wrong.
who's gonna be on the other side.
It was 5 games you went bananas in. No.
Yeah, it was. I went by
Oregon, Cal.
Yeah. Oregon, Cal, UCLA.
And the Apple Cup, right?
USC.
Okay.
Well, Idaho, of course.
Yeah, I was gonna smack them.
Auburn.
Okay, yeah, you did play good.
Auburn.
Auburn would kind of put you on the map too.
Our first game
but
of
my
season.
bad, I thought that I said 5 games because I remember watching 5 games where you went crazy, and I was like, this dude is balling. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So, but my fault again. But I wanted to get, you know, I want to pass that same question over to you. When was your lowest time in your career?
Lowest time in my career.
Or life period.
In life, shoot. I would say after I got cut from the Niners my rookie year, I was undrafted free agent as well. But it was just like a cascade of things that was happening. And what made it worse was that I've always been my own worst critic. And as it pertains to like football, you gotta think, I'm coming up in a program that by the time I left, you know, we had 3 guys back to back get Nike Combine MVP and be parade All-Americans, and then the rest fell over. I only lost 2 games in high school. So I'm going from that to going to Notre Dame. We went, 5-7, then 6-6. Then we went 9-3 and 10-3, and then 3-9, and I think
no bowl games.
5-7. No, but I never won a single solitary bowl game, and the one that we won, I couldn't even play because I was hurt. I had a sprain. I had a grade 1 MCL tear my last year there, and that killed me because that was the first time my pops was ever able, like financially, be able to be in a position to fly out and come see me play. And I couldn't even play because I was hurt. And we lost in the last seconds to Syracuse. So we ended up playing the Sheraton Bowl. And I was just watching. I suited up, but I was watching. I didn't play because I wasn't 100%. I couldn't move. But lowest point for me, that following year I got picked up by the Niners. And I had you know, that fourth preseason game, that's like for the rookies and the guys that's on the cusp.
You
Like,
better show your cheeks, because once you get released, you just better play for somebody else to pick you up.
And I think I had 2 PBUs. One was like an errant throw that I deflected, but if he had thrown it, like it would have been a pick 6 to the crib. But I had 8 tackles and a forced fumble, and it cut me. But what hurt the most though wasn't that I got cut. Like I knew that was like viable. It was the fact that Singh said that there was less, Singletary told me, he said, son, there's gonna be guys less talented than you that's gonna make this team because you don't have confidence. And that destroyed me. And then on top of that, I think my mom and my brother and sisters at the time, they were living in Bakersfield. They had to, she lost the house out of it because of a divorce settlement. So they were basically living in and out of hotels. And like, I essentially felt like a bum because I was like, the whole plan was for me to like put myself in a position where I could take care of my family. I couldn't even do it, so I felt useless. And then that on top of, you know, just the pressures of being an athlete, I just remember driving down PCH, probably, this would have been 2010, like February. I hadn't been with a team yet. And no, I'm sorry. No, I take that back. This would have been 09 during the fall, because I had got picked up by Indianapolis later. But I was going down PCH, and anybody that's familiar with Oxnard, where I grew up, the southern section of Oxnard I come from, which is Port Hueneme, it's a straight shot to Malibu. You could get there in like 15 minutes. But I had a 90 Lexus, and I remember speeding around the, you know, if you PCH, the ocean right here to my right, mountains to my left, and there's a ledge that overlooks the whole like ocean line. You can see it's like probably like 4 stories high, but I had every intent to drive my Lexus over the top, but a phone call saved my life from one of my homegirls I went to school with. She don't even know this story, I don't think, but her name's Sydney. She's actually a OR nurse out in Houston, but she had just so happened to call me. She was just like, man, what's wrong? We're like, you sound wrong. And I played it off, like I didn't tell her what was going on, but I was just like, you know, I was just one of them days, you know. And then what she told me was, man, you Terrell, you can't be all sad and stuff, like, you know, like, cheer up, whoop, whoop. And then it turned into a conversation where we were just reminiscing on old times. But long story short, that phone call saved me from taking my life, in a nutshell. But
it wasn't just because you getting cut. It was because you felt like, I mean, there's more there. I mean, I know that you were doing it. A lot of us, we play the game and we try to go hard for things for our family.
yeah,
You know, I know that was my driven purpose. My whole career was to help my dad, my brothers, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I know you've told me a little bit about this story, so I want you to go into that.
yeah. So the biggest motivating factor I ever had for playing ball was because of my mom. There were moments growing up, I didn't know at the time when I was little, but my mother was anemic. And she has a low blood pressure. She's hypotensive, so that means she could pass out at the drop of a dime as soon as her sugar dropped. Well, at that particular time, I was straight. I was always taken care of. I had my godparents, I had my pops up, you know, down the street, you know, all these different people. But for her, she was going through it, so a lot of times she would give me her meals and she would eat what was left over. And me being like, I was big when I was little, so like naturally, like I ate everything in sight. So a lot of times she went without eating. So there were times where I was literally at like 5, 6 years old, dragging her to her bed. And a couple times I got scared when she wouldn't wake up. And I would want to call 911, or I want to go to around the corner to the neighbors. And but she always ended up waking up. But I just remember one particular night, the lights was off, so I couldn't call nobody. I was scared. It was actually the first time it happened. I didn't know what was what. And I walked down the hall, and then I hear her call me, and then like I'm like, okay, cool, she's alive. But then like I must have cried like that whole night because there was nothing I could physically do. Like I was in a helpless situation. So what I used to do is when I would play, I used to I throw on my eye blacks, and the last thing I do before I went out on the field, I would draw these teardrops underneath my eyes, because for me that symbolized whatever pain that I've had. Like I've been holding on to it for like 18 years, and now for 60 minutes I get to share it with the opposition. It didn't matter who I was lining up against. Like, this is what you gonna get.
You gonna feel these.
But what took me out of it was I seen a therapist, and what she told me is that in my quest to this big dream that we've all shared, I lost sight of me as the whole person. And so what I ended up doing was, it was an exercise that she recommended. I kind of got creative with it too, but what I did was I went to it was like a reverse, what's the word I'm looking for? Scavenger hunt, but for myself. Like mentally, I wanted to get back to the point to where, who am I in my core? So I went in backwards order. I went to every old neighborhood that I went to, starting from like high school to junior high, all the way down to like those like most primal moments of my youth. And it ended up being on the stair steps. I grew up in these apartments. They call them the Blue Ghettos in Oxnard. That's what the kids call them now. Like back when I was coming up, they would just call it the Blues. Yeah. But it's on the corner of Anchor Ave and Hemlock. And I remember walking up to my stairs, and I just sat there. I just closed my eyes and just kind of meditated for a while. And all these old memories started coming back in like vivid detail. And seeing myself having that image in my head when I was little, it allowed me to like just tap into like, it was almost, you know what? We talking about movies. It's almost like, y'all seen the movie Hook?
Yeah.
You remember when the little boy goes up to him and he puts his hands on his face and he was like, "Oh, there you are, Peter." Yeah. It sounds cheesy, but like that was like a real moment. Like I was just like, oh, okay, there you are. And then I just had to come to terms with, what I became thus far, and like be cool with that. Like, are you cool with what you see? And once that mask came off, it was no longer Terrell Lambert, the football player. It was Terrell Lambert, the man who happens to play football.
Yes, that's funny you touch on that, because that was a big thing for me as well. Don't want to be known as Tyron Bracker as the football player. You know what I'm saying? It's like going through that. And when you talk about, because one of my lows too, I had so many, was when I got released from the Chiefs. My second year, I got released from the Chiefs. And then they brought me back, balled out, and then released me again.
I remember that.
Right after that game. Craziness. I think I had like 6 tackles, 5 solos, and a PBU and a pass breakup. You know what I'm saying? And then they released me that Tuesday. It was like, yep, But, like, again, we've been athletes for so long. We've been glorified. We've been praised. It become us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It become us. And that's who we identify ourselves with. By being identified in that way, when we don't have that, it comes a point in time where you have to find that transition. You have to find your own identity. You got to break yourself down. Like, I think counseling is very important. You know what I'm saying? It's very important, because a lot of athletes, I was one of them, you know what I'm saying, struggle to get out of that, to be, you're no longer that. You got to think about those high profile athletes that that had the money, was out partying, living this luxurious life, and then they don't have it no more. I wasn't no millionaire, you know what I mean? I made a couple thousands, you know what I mean? League minimums, you know what I'm saying? But that's great, that's still good living. Right. And then once that thing is gone, it's like, it's deflating. That's another thing. Why, I seen this on social media, and it was a question, and it said, why do men get so deflated when they're not financially stable?
Because in the Western world, a man is what he does.
Man is what he does, right?
Right.
And we're not, go ahead.
I was gonna say, you could put a gang of people in a room, especially other women too, and if you ask them what is a man, for the most part, 90% of them are just gonna essentially give job descriptions. They're gonna be like, oh, he's a father. Oh, he's a protector. Oh, he's a provider. He's this, he's that. And that's not even what you asking. Like, what is a man? Like, you just listing job titles.
True. And that's another thing. It's like, as a man, think about this. As a man, if you're not the most financially stable man, not very many women gonna deal with you.
True.
You know what I'm saying? As men,
you'll get a certain type of woman.
You're gonna get a certain type of woman.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna get a high profile man can get a low profile woman. It's not gonna be vice versa.
Absolutely.
By no means. You know what I'm saying? I look at it as a man who's deflated like that. A woman, if a man and a woman's together and a man is financially struggling, a lot of times, and I'm not saying all times, but a lot of times that woman gonna leave. It's gonna create a lot of tension in the household.
That's the number one reason for divorce in America.
Very few women that's gonna stick around and be like, yo, I'm gonna be down here. Let me help my man out. Let's figure something out. Let's bring it up together. I feel like in some cases that us men are not always loved unconditionally. We're like one of the few species, the only species that's not loved unconditionally. I feel that way. You know what I'm saying? And not all the time. In some aspects, I should say, I feel that way. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's because a lot of the times it kind of goes back to the job description. Like, you receive love based on merit. It's not like what they call agape love, like where people just love you just because you exist. That don't exist in the world of a man. That's why competition is so important to us.
Absolutely. So how does that mentally, as a man, explain how does that mentally mess you up?
It messes you up because those accolades you get, you become. That becomes synonymous with whoever you are. Like, Terrell Lambert gets synonymous with, XYZ accomplishments, or Tyron Brackenridge or Robert Bourne gets synonymous with that. You become attached to that. So when that's gone, and essentially, it's like your worth goes away with it. You lose value.
Yeah, that mentally tears an individual down. In so many ways, and it's just as an athlete, how we define ourselves. But yet and think it's this one little thing that got so much control of your whole life. Like, just even your situation, Rob, being in college, going from the number 11 corner in the nation to
nothing,
standing in front of NFL stadiums
right,
for an opportunity.
Right. But I, before I get into that, I wanted to say, one thing that we do as men is we shut off. I know I've been guilty of that, to where I'm quiet, I hold it in, and it builds up in me. You know what I mean? When we talk about being loved unconditionally, figuring out who I am, I think that we still try to figure out as men on how to be a certain man in this world that we're living in. But at the same time, it's like we shut ourselves off at times, and I don't think some women can handle that.
Yeah,
that's what I had to say to that comment, because I was holding it in.
So
but we shut ourselves off, man, and I'm guilty of it on the aspect of I think that I'm not readable at times. I think it stems from my childhood. I think that, me not knowing my mom and her leaving me at 3 and not learning emotion. When I met Brack, man, Brack's mom is so energetic. She'll love on you like you hers, man. And I was like, dang, I'm missing that.
That is true. She hugged me the first. I was a complete stranger. She just came up to me, hugged me like, Terrell, come here.
Right. Well, your mama the same way, man.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm missing something. The only woman that gave me that type of love, man, was my grandma.
What people don't realize is that you need the masculine and the feminine principle in order to have balance.
Right.
People it's not a coincidence that the word mother and matter are interrelated. You know what I'm saying? Because anything in the natural world that is expressive, whether that's an emotion, whether that's a physical character trait, that's the feminine principle. But the underlying cause behind that's where we come in. That's the masculine principle. All it is cause and effect. But if you don't have that, like, how could you expect yourself to know how to express that? You've never been shown that.
Right.
Yeah.
That's another thing, like, when we look at a lot of us black males growing up, especially in the 80s and 90s, was raised in a lot of single parent homes. You know what I'm saying? And it's tough. And a lot of us black males growing up turned to the streets because we didn't have that father figure in the house. And it was definitely challenging for a woman to try to raise a man. It's not.
You take a certain one.
You can't. No woman can truly raise a man to be a man. She can give some quality. She can give ideas. She can instill in her youth, her son, to what she may want out of a man.
Right.
But she can't ultimately teach him and show him how to be a man.
I agree with that.
It's just there's no way that I can sit there and teach my daughter how to be a princess. I can't teach her how to be a woman.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. I can instill some qualities into her. I can give her some guidance, but ultimately I will never try to take that role over from her mom.
Well, I thought y'all moms did a great job with y'all, but I know you had Uncle John.
Yeah.
I just want to say for the record, like I had 2 fathers.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, my biological and my other dad. I call them both dad, but I don't want to make it seem like my fathers were like deadbeats because they were very much.
Yeah, mine wasn't no deadbeat neither. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I do agree with as far as like the daily physical presence in the household. I think that's what's missing a lot.
Yeah.
And what people fail to realize is you might have a gang, it might be a football team, because football ain't nothing but organized gang banging anyways.
Right.
If you really break it down.
Any team.
But it could be a club, it could be Boy Scouts, but for boys growing up, the thing that connects all those are totally different ends of the spectrum, but what connects all of them is that it's a set of ideals that are put into practice and used to teach you what masculinity is. Like, I mean, you could go around the corner right over here to Pomona. Summertime, you probably gonna see a put on. Dude gonna get jumped in and gonna put him on the set. But then you see the same thing with the Maasai tribe in East Africa when they send a 14-year-old boy off and tell him, like, you don't come back to the village for 2 weeks and bring us back a male lion. That's just like your homie telling you, like, hey, empty this whole clip and that shit better be empty when you get back in this ride.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So the energy is the exact same. It's identical.
Energy is the same. You know what I'm saying? The whole purpose is the same. You know, yeah.
I think
it's different contexts,
Yeah.
But it's ultimately the
The
same.
end goal is the same. Like, how do you define masculinity? I think we've
Right.
lost, particularly with us as black men, I think we've lost our rites of passage and the methods and means to attain that in a constructive manner, of course.
Wow. Well, I'm gonna go off of that, and I'm gonna say, you know, my lowest of low was, I mean, it's a timeline of things, man. But like you said earlier, everything is temporary, and I started realizing that as I got older. You know, I'm gonna start with my SAT. Here I am, Oregon State University. Happy to make it to the Pac-12 out of high school, but I could not pass the SAT, man. That thing was killing me. I couldn't. I kept taking the damn test.
ACT too.
And then I took the ACT, and I ended up passing the ACT, but then I got flagged. I got flagged on both of, both of them.
You had somebody taking your test?
No, man, that's what they try to tell me. They try to say somebody was taking my test, man. And it was funny because it was a professor from the University of UCLA. He actually read about my story in the paper after they kicked me out, and he was like, he made this whole math problem. He put me dead in the center because they tried to say I cheated off someone 4 seats away from me, and that was just impossible, man. And long story short, man, that was one of my lows, and I just said, man, something is trying to stop me, man. And I go here with it. From generation to generation, there's a thing called generational curses. Mm-hmm. And I honestly felt that our family has always had a generational curse. There was always something trying to stop each and every one of us from blowing up into this person that we knew we could become, And I've always felt like, dang, you got to watch yourself. You got to protect yourself at all times, man, because that curse is around the corner. So I was kind of living in fear. So I ended up getting through the SAT. Had to go the JC route, got out, went to Compton, did my thing, went to Compton College, balled out there. And, I got into Colorado State. I made a big name for myself my first 2 years at Colorado State, man. And to the point where, like Brack said earlier, I got myself ranked highly in the nation. And, I thought that everything was going for me to make it into the pros. And, but here's to show you that you always got to watch your back and what's going on. And basically, in the long story short, my roommates were involved in a big, credit card fraud or check fraud situation. Yeah, man. It was going around at that time. I think it hit like 4 or 5 Pac-12 schools and like a couple Mountain West schools.
A couple people from Florida too.
Yeah. So, man, I couldn't believe it, man. I couldn't believe that I was sitting my senior year watching this fool play, and I'm fighting the case because they think I'm involved in this check fraud thing, man. And so I go through the SAT situation. Now I'm in this, situation to where I might go to jail because my roommates have stole all this money. And I remember agents coming by my house, man, because I was ranked so high. Like, man, you losing millions, man. And it started to mess with me. I ran every day, and I was lucky to have my cousin Jacob up there because he was keeping me sane during this time. And like, just keep working out, man. Just keep working out. You're gonna get through this. And I remember, man, there was a big hill or mountain behind the Sonny Lubick Stadium. And I remember a night where I was in my car and it was a big straightaway. And I said, I can end all this pain right now. And I thought about ending my life, man. But it was funny because Jacob was looking for me. And I think he called me that night as well. And if he didn't talk to me, and he had brought my girlfriend at the time to the place where I was at. And they basically calmed me down and got my head back right, man, because I was tripping. I was bugging out. I ain't never been a quitter. I've always fought through everything in life. And, I was just tired, man. I was just tired of always having to fight through something, man. It's always been like that. My dad has always been like that. My dad has always worked 2 jobs and had to fight through everything to get what he want, man. But it started to tell me something like, you special. You special, man. No one said that this world was going to be easy. No one said that you're going to have it the easy way. And, sometimes I look at that now, man, and I talk about generational wealth and how people are past stuff, money and wealth, and we didn't get none of that. You know what I mean? And how I'm trying to provide it for my son now. But to finish off my story, I fought back, and what I did was I didn't test good at my pro day. That I was overtrained. We was training too damn hard, man. We wanted this bag so bad, man, to the point where we was just doing too much, and we wasn't listening. He was telling me, Rob, you need to chill, and I kept saying, bro, you played, I didn't play. So I wasn't listening to him. And I say this to these little kids today, man. If you are practicing outside of Rare Breed, you need to chill. You need to relax, because I went through it. And what I'm getting at is that I was overtrained. I didn't test good for my pro day. So then again, I thought about the generational curse. I think I ended up running like a 4.63 that day. And I was like, ain't no way. We had been testing. We was running 4.5s, 4.4s all day long. And I just couldn't believe it that I wasn't ready. But here's what I didn't do. I did not eat the day of my pro day. And because I was always a stickler about my weight, I wanted to weigh in at a certain weight. So I didn't eat anything. And I remember doing the vertical, jumping up. And when I came down, I fell on the ground. I was like, man, I told my agent, was like, what the hell is wrong with you? And I was like, man, there's something wrong with me, man. But I didn't think about it until like a week later. Like, bro, you didn't eat. That's how mind blown my head was about testing good, because all the reporters were there, because I got in trouble at school. They were all waiting to see how Robert Bourne was going to do. So it was a lot of stress on me that day, and I didn't test good, but I didn't give up. So I came home, and I started going back to church and getting my head right with God, man. And I remember Coach Martin, Donald Martin, man, he's been a big mentor in my life. He calmed me down, and he said, if you want it, you got to go get it, man. And I did just that. So I started challenging NFL teams, showing up at their doorstep. And
sure, you even had our players when you came up to Kansas City. We was in Jacksonville with me, and we had players petitioning for you.
Right, man, it was dope. It was dope. People believed in me, man. I remember Cox.
Yeah.
I remember Cox watched the workout. You was gone, actually. I don't know where you went somewhere. I think you came home back to Cali, and I stayed out there. And Cox was at the stadium at North Florida, and it was raining. And you know how the storms in Florida, they'll come in, they'll leave.
Come and go.
And he was watching me work out, man. And man, he got out his car and he's like, man, you crazy, man. He's like, I thought you was gonna get hit by one of these lightning bolts. And I was like, nah, I said, I'm good. But I was crying, but he couldn't tell I was crying. But I was under so much stress at that time, man, because I was chasing TB, man. I seen the lifestyle he had. You know, I've known him since 5th grade, and I said, man, this fool made it, man. I gotta keep grinding. And you know, Cox made me feel good, because he was just like, Brack is lucky to have someone like you that is hungry as hell around him, because that's only gonna make Brack work 10 times harder. And I didn't think about it like that, you know, until we stopped playing. Like, dang, man, you know, maybe God put me there for a reason to, you know, push your career more, man. And, you know, maybe it wasn't for me. And I remember, you know, what was his name? The guy that died, linebacker, played with the Raiders. Q. Man, Q ended up telling me the same thing, man. And he was just like, it was another time I think you was going. It was just me and Q training, man. And Q was just like, bro, you don't get tired, man. And I said, nah.
No, it was all 3 of us there.
Was he there? Was you there? Oh, my bad.
Like, man.
But he told me, man, he was just like, y'all trained so hard, you know? And I was just like, dang, like, we special, man. We've always been.
Even Sheen Mathis, Scott Starks, all them boys said that, like, man, y'all crazy.
Yeah.
Like, y'all tripping, man.
I remember Rasheen had told Brack that, you know, I just come to the point where I can't move like you, man.
No, that was Scott.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Scott was saying that, yeah. He was like, I just come to the point that I can't move like y'all.
Yeah, that was dope, man. So it let me know, like, you know, okay, movement and the game is 2 different things, man. And, you know, but it all goes back into the game. And I just felt that, damn, we had the goods, man. And you know, y'all stories mind boggle me, because it's like, I felt like y'all should have played a lot longer than what you played. And I knew the root of what you were and who you are. So it just didn't make sense to me, man. But, you know, to go back to my, to what I've been through, man, I've been through a lot. I'm happy where I'm at today, But I'm glad that my cousin called me and my girlfriend came and rescued me, man, mentally, and got my head back straight, because I wouldn't be here right now, to be honest with y'all, man. I was going through a lot. He know, I was calling him.
We was living together, shit.
Yeah, but not even that. Even when your senior year, man, I was, sitting on that couch, man, watching you play. I should have been playing, and it was really messing with me that, dang, my career's about to come to an end behind this check fraud stuff, man. But yes, I got acquitted of everything.
Man.
Ain't nothing on my record. I want to point that out first and foremost.
Man.
Free.
All right, I'm free.
And that's the biggest thing, man, how we get challenged in life. A lot of people who know me, I had to get to a point where I can't get too high with the highs, and I can't get too low with the lows.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I try not to get overly excited, because I've been disappointed in so many different ways. I try not to get too high with the high, because I've been brought down to my most humbling ways. You know what I'm saying? And when I'm at my most humbling ways, I can't get too low, because I know upwards is where I gotta go. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I gotta get back. So I gotta stay that even keel. And I just, when I am, things are going good, I gotta ride that high. You know what I'm saying? And just what I gotta do to keep this feeling. What I gotta do to keep this feeling. And naturally, man, life gonna throw that curveball. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
How you gonna break down that pitch and hit that mother? You know what I'm saying? Right. And that's what it's all about. And when it comes to when we mentally dealing with something, and I just want to tell the people out here listening, man, when you dealing with something, man, talk about it.
And understand it's temporary.
Yes.
It's
Talk
temporary,
about it.
man.
Talk about it, because that's the best way to literally navigate your situation. Is if you get all your thoughts out, you're gonna start to hear yourself, and you're gonna be like, damn, I'm tripping. You know what I'm saying? Once you start to hear yourself, because when you get so locked in, and you just get like, I'm feeling like this, da 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 da.
You know, it's funny you say that, because
Let it out. Talk to somebody. Hear yourself.
When I was in college, I had a close friend of mine. She went through like a couple of pages that I wrote, and that was like when I started writing like poetry heavy. But it's funny you say like getting your thoughts out. Literally, the book I just wrote, that's pretty much the gist of everything. Mm-hmm. That's why I titled it Tinted Wavelengths, because we was talking about that earlier, like words and names, whatever you call into existence, is gonna have a certain vibratory frequency.
The manifestation.
It might be a high frequency, it might be a low one,
Right.
but it's gonna be there. You're gonna feel that vibe, so what you trying to put out.
Right.
And that's basically what the whole thing is about, but that was super therapeutic for me.
To go off what you just said, I mean, like, I feel like our pain from our trauma in our life, or our wanting to better our family's lives, it has its own set of energy to it, And I think that today's student athletes, or just athletes, period, a lot of them, have made it, or that are in the pros right now, because of the strength of someone else, off of someone else that they love, you know what I mean, that they want to get out of a situation. Mm-hmm. I think that the kids that we train in this, world today, it's not like that. They ain't putting their dream's not bigger than them, is what I'm trying to say. So, I'm blessed. We're blessed, man, that we had those issues in life, mm-hmm. to help us, to catapult us, and make us further our career over time, man, because that energy is who we are today, man.
Yeah.
And we had less distraction back then. You got more distraction now with the social media and stuff like that. Everybody can place their platform. So everybody feel like they gotta maintain a certain lifestyle and level, and they're focusing on the next man's post instead of focusing on themselves the most. And that's the biggest thing, is you gotta have, it's good to see and scout your competitor, but you don't have to keep up with the Joneses.
Right.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody portray a certain lifestyle.
And that's an illusion.
On a thing, right. And that's the thing, like you You gotta understand who you are. You know what I'm saying? If it takes to having to break yourself down to be the most comfortable to make these clear-headed decisions, go for it, because it's worth it.
Right.
Trust me. I went through this process in 2018. It was worth it.
Yeah.
I came home and was able to make some decisions and with clarity and felt real good when the results became what they are. And probably haven't felt this good in so long in my life. You know what I'm saying? I ain't even got everything that I want to make me feel as good as I need to have, but I have everything that I absolutely need to make me feel the way I feel right now in my life. You know what I'm saying? And it's worth it. You know what I'm saying? And mental health is very important. I feel like it should be a sick day. You know, it should you know, you should get leave for that. You can use that as 6 day. Mental health, it's a mental health day. Whatever it's needed, man, because everybody is going through something. And that's something that you're going through. Do not be afraid to address it. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Or talk about it, man. I mean, if you can't hold that stuff in. I mean, I've always got, I got you guys to talk to, man, when I'm going to. Like this morning, our conversation this morning, that was needed.
You didn't call me.
That was needed.
Yeah, I just happened to be there.
He just happened to be there,
Hey,
and I was on my way
you
out.
Play with my frog.
I was on my way out, and we just started chopping it up, man.
man.
And those friends, people that you can turn to, that can be that voice to calm you down. It's needed, man. But yeah, mental health is real, and I just feel that we got to do a better job of letting it out and communicating with our people, man. People that care about you.
Yeah, self-inventories a must, man.
Key, man.
The homie Hamza, you remember Hamza, right?
Wazoo.
He gave me some of the greatest advice ever recently. I want to say it was last year or the year before, but he told me everybody talk about, like, in terms of forgiveness, everybody talk about forgiveness with other people, but nobody talks about, like, forgiveness with yourself. And he told me straight up, he was just like, hey, all your shortcomings, that whether it's an illusion or something that's real, that's concrete, that you feel you need to address, first and foremost, be merciful with yourself. Because you're not going to, I mean, we came up in a profession where no matter what the problem is, you bring a hammer to it. A hammer's not going to work for every situation. Sometimes you're going to need a key, sometimes you're going to need a saw, but we programmed to be that way. But the fact that you may not necessarily know how to use other tools in that given situation is not a reason to beat yourself up about it. You got to be merciful with yourself in that regard.
I was going to say, it wasn't until I actually came home and I wasn't happy with my results, man. And I was depressed. I said it, in the first episode. I was depressed, man. I was disappointed in myself. And it's one thing about making the same mistakes over and over again. And like I said, being overtrained, when I should have did that workout in Cancun, all that stuff came, it was this ball up energy in my head, like, dang, bruh, you just go for it, you know what I mean? But I didn't take advantage at times that I should have took advantage, and it beat me up inside, man. And I wanted to share with y'all that I didn't get over that until, I'll say, 3 years ago, man, when we started coaching these kids in 7-on-7, and I said, dang, I wish I could play right now with these boys, because they getting scholarships easy. They're getting all this stuff thrown at them very easy. And it's like, we had to work our tail off to get, noticed and get those articles and stuff. But I started to fall in love with being a coach, And I had opportunities to coach college football, but I didn't take it. I thought that God would want me here, passing my knowledge on to the next generation, man. But it drives me crazy still to this day to see young men not take full advantage of the opportunity to play ball, you know what I mean, and better their life. A lot of these kids, parents can't afford college, but they don't push hard enough to receive that scholarship. And I would think talking to us as coaches and having us as mentors and us pouring into them, they would, understand like, okay, I can do this, So it's my point. It's always been our point to try to help as many kids gain that self-awareness and self-confidence to make it, man.
Absolutely.
But I think that these stories and what we're doing, man, is definitely going to change the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Absolutely. This is what the whole Beyond the Breaks is about, man. Because it's beyond the breaks. You know what I'm saying? Right. And you just gotta elevate, man. We gotta go over and beyond. We gotta constantly grow, man. Because if you're not growing, you're dying. And that's the biggest thing, and that's what we gotta continue to instill in people, man. I love the fact that we was able to express ourselves, man, because again, mental health is something that's hindering a lot of us in our community, hindering a lot of the youth,
even the youth,
our youth, our elders,
grandparents,
you know what I'm saying, like still, but I think it's big that we constantly talk about this, man. We constantly got to get, express ourselves, and by saying that, man, I hope that we can reach a whole demographic of people, and to encourage them to just express themselves. And I think this generation is pretty good. It's pretty good at that. You know what I'm saying? But gotta learn how to do it. In a righteous manner. In a proper manner. But yeah, man. Thanks. Fellas, I mean, I truly appreciate both of y'all. You know what I mean? Like, we've definitely grown together in so many ways.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? And, when we was on the field, in and out of our breaks, now we sit here on the couch beyond the breaks.
He always trying to rhyme stuff together. He gonna be a rapper.
You got bars.
Nah, man. Well, stay tuned for the next episode, and we'll get at you.
Hey.